different technologies working together to enable machines to sense, comprehend, act, and learn with human-like levels of intelligence. Maybe that's why it seems as though everyone's definition of artificial intelligence is different. AI isn't just one thing. Technologies like machine learning and natural language processing are all part of AI landscape. Each one is evolving along its own path, and when applied in combination with data, analytics, and automation, it can help businesses achieve their goals, and be it improving customer service or even optimizing the supply chain. Now, before we start today's session, few instructions for the participants. During the session, participants cannot unmute themselves. They may use Zoom chat box for questions which will be answered during question and answer session. Feedback attendance link will be shared in the question and answer session and is available only for 15 minutes. Certificates will be issued to only those who submit the feedback form. Now it's our proud privilege to introduce the speaker for the day, Dr. Venu Gopal Jarugumalli. Dr. Venu Gopal Jarugumalli sir is a renowned expert in AI consulting and engineering, currently serving as a practice leader at ZF Hyderabad. With a wealth of experience in AI and ML, he has significantly contributed to the field through innovative solutions and leadership. His expertise and visionary approach make him a sought-after speaker and thought leader in the industry. Dr. Venu Gopal sir, a prominent figure in AI consulting, will spearhead the discussion, offering a unique blend of theoretical and practical perspective. The session will be moderated by Dr. Sneha Kanade, that is me, with a promise that it will be a compelling exchange of knowledge and ideas. So thank you so much, and over to you, sir, for the session.
Thank you, Sneha, for very good intro and then keeping the floor with a lot of curiosity. Okay. I hope I don't fail what you are demanding from my session. Okay. Yeah. Today we will be discussing something about. Can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Thank you. So today what we will be discussing is how a decision making can be leveraged by next gen technologies. I'm mentioning next gen technologies are like AI, ML, blockchain, okay, in a digital dialogues. Okay, these are three important concepts I want to bring, and I want to give this perspective to the management people. Okay, how can you use this for your digital dialogues? First of all, what is a digital dialogue? Okay, and what is meant by decision making, and how does a decision makings are aided with data? Okay, we'll see that. So now we will start with something like importance of data-driven business decisions. First of all, what is a business decisions? Business decisions can be strategic, which are long-term decisions. It can be operational for day-to-day efficiency, and tactical, which is mid-term alignments, and financial for financial health of a company, HR for workforce management. I think to put together everything, this is what you learn in your MBAs, right? So how does this business decisions and why we need a data-driven business decisions is very important. Why we need a data-driven decisions is the first and foremost thing is we need a factual insights and reduce bias, which brings an accuracy and objectivity. Second is to make most of your decisions speed, efficiency, and agile, and then to overcome the risk management. Okay, so predictive analytics anticipates risks. Okay, it predicts the risks, and then finally operational optimization, which basically identifies and improves the processes and efficiencies of the processes. And for a customer centric and competitive advantages, and for continuous improvement and compliance and transparency. These are the very important points of 8 main points, which basically helps you the business decisions more accurate, which is a data driven. So in order to do this, how it how it operates is, if you look at this a small graph, okay, so everything is digitized, okay. This digitization, you can see the digitization basically operates at a central stage where you are feeding data to a central database, and then everyone is accessing that databases to a different thing. All your activities are captured through a data, and in a digital form, everything can be viewed and doing that. What are the key benefits of it? The first is performance transparency. Second is collaboration and accountability. Then you can have a strategic business alignment and ease in decision making. So this is how your digital accelerated business decision making will help. So with this context, let me give few conceptual clarities. The way how I want to bring it here is concept, context, case. Okay, this is the approach which I follow. So in a conceptual clarity, there is something called digitization, then there is a digitalization, and then there is a digital transformation. These three are very interchangingly used, but it has its own scope and boundaries. If you talk about digitization, the focus of digitization is transformation of data. Digitalization is processing of data. There is a difference between transformation of data to processing of data. Digital transformation is taking advantage of the information. When data becomes information, it will be taken. So the goals also changes. Like for example, if you talk with the digitization, any analog process to a digital is a digitization. Changing the way companies operate and think is digital transformation. So the first step of any digital transformation is digitization. Then it goes to digitalization, and then there will be digital transformation. What are the tools and techniques? In tools, the first digitization process starts with computers and other equipments, whereas digitalization comes with some IT systems and applications and platforms like SAP kind of stuff. Then it goes to a digital transformation. The new digital technologies of the world will come. So this is how this entire three concepts work for you. I hope this is clear. Now I'm coming to something like, what is digital transformation? What are the different types of digital transformations? So digital transformation, we can't call it as a small thing, but it is a process of using all digital technologies, creating and process culture, customer experience to meet and changing requirements. So how does it happens is, there is something called process transformation, then there is a model transformation, domain transformation, and organizational transformation. So digital transformation is not something to do with one, it takes a different types of digital transformations. So now we will see what is this and how does it helps in reducing costs. So when we digitize anything, the first and foremost advantage is lower search cost. So if you want to search something, the cost will be very high. So with the digitization, with a simple click of a button, your search cost will be less. Lower replication cost. If you want to replicate it 100 times, 200 times, the replication costs are less. Lower transportation cost, like the way what we are trying to do is a transportation cost advantage. Lower tracking cost, we can definitely track who is attending, who is not attending, all these things, and verifications. So this is how your digital technology will help. So with this, as I mentioned about all these things of key aspects, business model, operation efficiency and all, if you see a small GIF there, how does the digitalization works? Like it captures enormous data in a production system, and then it's a called closed loop system. You see, almost all the data is captured and viewed with a magnifying lens. All the decisions are taken for a production as well as for a sales, for every aspect of this thing with a digital framework. So that's how you can bring the innovation and agility and we can bring enhanced customer experience, and we can have an operational efficiency. That's how we can transform the business models. So having said all these things, now I'm bringing another concept called artificial intelligence and machine learning. I hope all of you are very much familiar with the word called AI, right? It's a simple two letter, A and I. Okay. And there is one more two letter word called ML. So what does this does? Okay. So if you ask me, how does AI and ML works? So it works on three different areas. The first one is enhanced data analysis. The second is basically what you see it as a real-time decision making. The third one is personalization. So it might be something to do with the pattern recognition to predictive analytics. So they have vast amount of data which can be used for pattern recognition. Like, for example, you are trying to buy from an Amazon store, and then you want to buy the buying pattern of people. So where you, by using AI ML models, you can build it. And for predicting, what is the next best thing we'll predict? And then we can even see that today with most of the predictions of stock market, predictions of something to do with the matches everywhere, the predictions are working. Then there is something called real-time decision making, this which is very important. If you talk something about AI-powered automated chatbots, like everyone might be feeling today about in chatbots, like the experience. If you are an Airtel customer or something, right? You don't need to talk to your customer agent by simply typing within chatbot. You can do that, and within virtual assistants are providing an immense responses by using all your current day LLM models and all. And there is something called dynamic adoption. The AI systems can adapt in new forms and changing the conditions, which allows you to make your decision process more agile and responsive. And there is something called personalization. Like, for example, you are a customer and then you need a 360-degree view of a customer. So with AI/ML, we can definitely understand preferences, behaviors, and customers, and we can give the tailored experience for each and every customer. So this is how AI is bringing it. At the same time, I also want to bring something about a blockchain. How does a blockchain basically makes a difference? So what is a blockchain technology? Blockchain technology can bring an enhanced security and transparency, which is basically immutable records. What will happen is blockchain, the record you keep in blockchain can't be tampered or can't be uh, uh, changed, but it is auditable. Every transaction is recorded, can be audited. So you can see that this is what the transparency of the system will bring. Then there is something called decentralized decision making. You can think about something like smart contracts, which is basically automated and then execute perfect and predefined actions. The every decision can be taken at a decentralized way. And then there is something called consensus mechanism. The decision can make and collectively through consensus algorithms, ensuring every stakeholder will become a part of it. Okay, so that's how you can do it. Now we will do something like data integrity and verification, where the blockchain can track it. It helps you in traceability, and it also helps you in identity management. Who is the person who has come? What is the digital identity he has, which are essentials and all. We are coming up with something called in a battery management systems, something called digital passport, which basically works on a complete blockchain system from birth to death of any electrical battery, which can be thrown out. The reason why we are coming up with that electrical battery birth to death is to see how can we enhance the sustainability practices. So with all this blockchain technology and AI, how can both can bring the decision making things more easy? As I said, it brings an integrated system. We'll explain with few use cases. Okay, and then it also helps in data monetization, which is very, very important. AI can analyze and monetize data that creates a secure, transparent ecosystem. What is data monetization? This word. Like, for example, if you have a data, and by using the data, you can definitely monetize that for a very good system to be, transparent ecosystem to be built on. Then there is a trust and efficiency, trusted AI models. So the AI models, by providing and tamper-proof records, like for example, if data is with you and then you build something and you keep changing it, instead of that, you can build a trusted AI models where AI-driven decisions can be enhances trust.
Hello.
And there is something called decentralized marketplaces, where blockchain enables decentralized marketplaces for AI models of data. And it also enhances the collaborations, and it also brings the shared data ecosystems. So now let us explain about how does the AI technology continue to evolve rapidly from existing value sources. A simple way to start with the demand forecasting or price optimization or promotion precision medias and commercial spending towards that, and then going to customer facing chatbots, trending sensing, and then now you can think about something like new product developments, video audio content generations. The people are becoming as a digital creators, and then using the summarizations and recommendations and independent decision making without a human in loop. So this is how AI technology continues to evolve rapidly, while value proofs exist and even more exciting opportunities are on horizon. So why I'm bringing all these concepts and context now is, let's talk about how many of you, I think most of you might be and very much interested towards this kind of a domino sphere, right? Yeah. In a domino, there's a concept called anywhere. Like, for example, everyone. Then you don't tell na, hum log ko add karna. Okay. So there is something called Domino's Anywhere, okay, where you can order your pizzas from Alexa's or Slack or Messengers or anywhere. At the same time, you can also share your feedback from Twitter. Even you can order from car, smart TV, voice, or smartwatch. So how does this entire Domino's digital transformation journey started? Domino's was in basically an eatery organization. How does this started, right? So when tracking digital transformation examples of technology, okay, pizza probably isn't the first thing to come up to your mind, right? We can track where your pizza is also. How does it happens? So for example, it started in mid-late 2000s. The organization found itself as amidst of a crisis. And then customer used to complain about the product tastes cheap, the cost was more akin to cardboard, the sauce tasted like ketchup, there was a poor excuse from a pizza company. All these complaints used to come. This is where the digital transformation journey has come to change these things. So after speaking with the focus group, they also identified the need for stronger customer engagement and improvement through the delivery process. To do this, they gambled on digitalization, believed of building an rock solid IT R&D division, okay, would allow us the business to invest and develop new digital innovations. So such as becomes the first delivery company to launch Visa Tracker technology to keep customers updated. The same tracker technology is being used by Uber today, or even for all the Zomatos and everything, whatever we are having it today. So this is how they started this journey. By 2015, they went to a step further and launching Anywhere system that allows you can order from
Hello.
any device, okay, with any form factor in the place. So this has changed the game of Domino's to a different level. So with this Domino's thing, I'll also give an example from a BCG report. Okay, so there is a biopharma company which has used an AI to reduce the cost by transforming, focus on reshaping multiple functions. Like, for example, if you see this company where there is a vision for him to mandate and unlock value fast by reshaping multiple functions. So the vision is to transform productivity improvement, work reductions, okay, and improving employee engagement and having a competitive advantage of. So they executed that by using in three phases called deploy, reshape, and reinvent. Okay. So by adopting iterative approach and setting up rigorous measurements with GenAI mirror process and developed a lighthouse in the commercial functions and where the outcomes and operation redesigns will come. So for example, if you see the outcomes, they have a commercials of 20 to 30% of agency cost reduction and 20 to 40% of medical writers efficiency gain and 80% of reports approved with no edits from 20 to 13 days. So that's the attention, please. That's attention, the great please. Journey which you have seen. Right. Similarly, there are a lot of CPG companies which also use a global CPG seeks and reinforce its competitive advantage through AI, the product superiority, marketing creativity, and consumer connections. So they invested in AI capabilities, okay, through mix of organic and inorganic moves, transform R&D and marketing capabilities through predictivity, and then to increase the generative AI and marketing ROI optimizations. In parallel, they set up an enterprise-wide productivity lift. So by doing all these things, they have improved ROI of 15 to 25% and time to market acceleration to 3 to 6 months and 200 million plus increment sales through digital services. So that's the things where you can see. So after giving a concepts and context, now I'm trying to come to a case which was solved by me, okay, when I was doing my consulting work. So this is the problem what we are trying to do. I'm trying to talk a case about the mystery of data at coffee shop. What an intelligence can data scientist discover from the coffee shop. Like you might have seen all these coffee shops around, okay? And then how does a data scientist can play a role in a coffee shop, okay? Other than having a coffee and having chit chat with friends. So what we started here is like we all go to Google and search. Like these are the prominent questions we get, right? How can I make coffee shop profitable? How do I attract customers to coffee shop? How do I open up a coffee shop? Or how my coffees sell a day? How can I open my cafe? How to promote a cafe? How much of these things? All these questions has to have an answers. That answers can be observed by having a data. So we can collect different forms of a data from a coffee house. The numeric data, which is from POS, point of sale systems, your billing systems, which comes with an order data, inventory data, billing data, and occupancy data, how many tables are filled, how many are there. And we can also collect an survey data, feedback survey data, and loyalty scores data from a customers, which is basically text data. Then we can also see the opinions from a social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Insta. And also we can collect the data from digital data apps like Coffee Beans or Starbucks points or coupons or beans kind of a thing. Then there's a video data where we can analyze video footage data and try to do that. So how this each and everything can be collected and analyzed by using AI is what we'll discuss. So let me first start with what is a business problem. The customer came to me with the questions. Do I increase the prices of all products at all? Okay. Should I do it across all the outlets or only certain outlets? What could be the price of my new product when I am introducing? How do I forecast my demand if I increase or decrease my prices? So these are the decisions which a customer required, right? So now for these decisions, we have to analyze the decisions from a category level, which category he is looking for, from a city level, which city he is looking for, from a subgroup level, which is the suburb area which is looking for, from an outlet level and an item level. So it goes into a different hierarchy of analysis. So how does this will work? We have to come up with an analytical storyboard. The first and foremost thing the customer asked is about price elasticity. The second is product assortment. How do I decide on my new combos? How can I keep what combos I have to keep and what are the things I have to work? And what are the cause and effect of my forecasting? Which factors are affecting my product significantly or insignificantly? And how do I keep my store, customer segmentations, and sales drivers? So to build this entire storyboard is very important. In order to build this storyboard, as I mentioned, we have to collect all the data which I mentioned in previous slides, and then we started building it. I'll show you a few results what we have achieved in this. So we started analyzing at a descriptive level, at a diagnostic level, and advanced analytics level. Okay, where by using a simple data visualizations and diagnostic, where we went up to an ANOVA chi-squares and pairwise t-squares, and there are a lot more which we have done. I just kept because you are all students where you will be understanding this. And then we came up with an advanced of forecasting decision trees and association rules. So there are much more like neural networks and also which we use. So for example, if you see for a city-wise, like this is a time series graph which you can see where you can talk about in yearly data. You can see how the different products are being demanded over a period of time. And there are some products which are flat in nature. There are some products which used to move up, and there are some co-movement products which goes up with that, and there are some products which are coming down. So this is where at a descriptive level we understood the trends and patterns of demand behavior of the product. The next important thing is within a day for a given city, how much of billing I'm getting for each of these things. It might be beverages, or it might be category items, or it might be the small eat outs. Okay. So how does it comes? Right now you see this is basically tells peak of an hour. Which peak of an hour where for what demand comes. So within a day, what is the highest demand hours? Okay, for example, if you talk about beverages, basically your coffee, tea, or iced teas kind of a thing, the peak demand is somewhere around 5 to 4 p.m. Okay. Similarly, there is a shifted demand if you talk about some category combos. So it comes after 6. But if you go for a food items, it basically comes after 6. So this is how the demand looks like. Now, we came up with a price elasticity and tried to find out, and very interesting findings we did, outlet IDs. Okay, for example, if we increase the price, okay, in general, if you increase the price, sorry. I think someone has taken. So what will happen is when you increase the price, generally there will be a decrease in sales. Okay. So it should happen otherwise. But in this case, for some outlets where price increase basically will decrease in sale. But some outlets, if you increase price, sales also increase. That depends upon locality where the outlet is. And also, this is where we have to concentrate. Now, the next question is about how my products are doing, what is the feedback. So we get a lot of this text mining analysis, and then where we can also take data from your tweets and other things, and then do the sentiment analysis of the people. And then this is the best part. In most of the coffee shops, when the people are basically watched, how they watched is by using the facial expressions. So you can see whether they're angered, whether they're fear, whether they're disgust, or whether they're surprised, happy, or sad. What we calculate here is restlessness index of a person. So we have a complete framework how to detect it, and then we don't use the face. Okay, this is an ethically what we have done is we mask the face. Okay, we don't mind it whether the Katrina Kaif is sitting there or Karim boy is sitting there. What we do is whether the customer is happy or sad. Okay, so this is how we come up with video analytics, how to proactively service, how to delayed feedback system works, and this is how we are trying to solve it. So now if you see the restlessness index, the deep learning solutions what we have developed, it goes from a CCTV camera, it goes to cloud where we calculate all the engine, and then it goes to an alarm where the restaurant manager will receive a feedback at what location, what table number the customer is sitting, and he is not satisfied to address it. Okay, so this is one of the innovative thing where AI and blockchain can help. Okay, so I just want to give something like a framework how to do it. We visualized it. We used an econometric modeling for forecasting. We used a full statistics. By using predictive and advanced analytics, we could able to bring the solutions around it. So now I'll talk about how to build this in a system. Okay, what are the three pillars of successful Gen AI transformation? There is a rule called 10-20-70 rule. The 10% of what people think is algorithms, 20% is technology and data, and 70% is basically people and process. I'm trying to bring this rule. Algorithms, like any data scientist who is coming to the system will think that, okay, I want to change the Rome today itself. But it's basically there will be only 10% of it, and 20% of technologies basically depends upon which tech stack you are choosing. Are you choosing an Google tech stack? Are you choosing an AWS tech stack? Are you choosing an tech stack of Azure kind of thing? Then it's basically people and process which makes it. Now we'll focus on what are the main elements of people process things. So the new roles has emerged. This is for you guys since you are all getting into this, and then there is a proverb like people only need to know coding and all will do Excel. With the new gamut of things like Chat GPT and Copilot kind of a thing, coding is slowly going to die. But the new roles are coming, like something like new roles will be created, like of AI, like chief AI officer, changing roles and responsibilities in decision making, greater productivity and redesigning work, and purpose and culture and change management. HR has to work on this. The technology and skills and talent skills, changing skill set requirements. So it automates most of the tasks. The people who are doing that mundane tasks has to change. There is a revamped talent acquisitions, okay, and AI-enabled performance management and personalized training. So what I mean to say here is there is a whole gamut of things are getting changed here. So in the 70%, that used to be a different way. Now it used to be entirely different way it used to work. So now being an students, you have to be very focused. Having said that, I will also give you some more information about, okay, where to get started for your AI journey. Okay. First and foremost thing, it is for companies or it is for the individuals. First and foremost thing is understand your starting point. Okay. Identify why you have to start. where what you have to learn for students, for companies, for startups, you have to start against the peers. And next is prioritize few high value initiatives. Don't take everything under these things. Don't register for 100 courses. Register only for 1 or 2 courses. Then there is an upskill and scale broadly. You will be learning something, upskill it. Fund the journey. You need to have funding it. Like, for example, you need to go and get an apprenticeship as a student, or if you are in startup, fund that initiative. Then invest in a foundational capabilities. Okay, this is very important. Number 5 is very important. And launch an AI governance structure. Okay, these are the 6 points, practical steps you need to start your AI journey. Either you are a student or for a startup or for a company once you become a manager. So having said all these things, what is the market available and where are we there in India? Okay. So the market roles in 2024 India-wise is there is an machine learning engineers, data scientist still very good. And then there is something called AI ethics specialist, NLP engineer, a research scientist, a product manager, a software engineer, okay, and computer vision engineers and robotic engineers. And we can also have a breakdown of jobs, like how the salaries are. You can look at the salaries, like the mid salary range is mostly from 6 to 10 lakhs, and then it goes up to the next stages. Some of the sectors where you can see, the first one is obviously the BFIS, then there is a management, then there are some pharmaceutical companies, networking companies, education sectors, and telecom companies, travel companies. Name a sector, every sector there is a distribution of jobs. Okay. And then now we will think something about where we will find the jobs. Okay. The 63% of the jobs are found in foreign MNCs, 15% can be found from GCCs, and 13% from an Indian MNCs, 7% from startups, and domestic non-IT firms is around 2%. Okay. So this is how the job market is today. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I'm happy to address your questions.
Thank
Yes.
you so much, sir. It was indeed quite engaging webinar. So there is a question that we've received. Sir, nowadays there are so many different softwares available. Everywhere there's a buzz about Tableau and people learning Power BI and Python and SQL and so many different kinds of softwares. So, sir, for somebody to start into, AI, ML, or maybe a field like data analytics, where should they start? Because everyone
Okay.
advocates all these softwares and it kind of confuses the students. So, what should be the ideal starting point for them?
Sure. I will definitely have an answer for it. Okay. See, always don't learn tools. Learn the methodology. Okay. That's my first and foremost suggestion. But where should you start? How the journey should start is basically this framework. Okay. So the tools like visualization, the hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So
It is
yeah.
visible.
So it starts with a visualization where you can think about tools like Tableau, think tools like uh, Power BI, tools like Click, tools like Shiny. There's so many things. It all depends upon, it changes company to company. To learn, you need to learn visualization as one capability. Okay. Then there is something called forecasting. Then there is something called what you have to learn is statistics and predictive analytics and advanced analytics. That's the journey you can start with.
Thank you.
As
Thank you
I
so much,
said,
sir.
there are tools which are low code, no code also, and then where you can start. Since it all depends upon your individual choices. If you really want to become a coder, you can always learn something from Python. If you really want to become kind of a good, uh, there is two choices: data scientist versus data artist. Okay, data scientist is basically who basically uses the code and build the models. Data artist is the person who can tell the stories with the data and who can become more intelligent. The best way to learn is you can become a good prompt engineer and then you can become a good data storyteller. That's the advice I give for management graduates.
That's very interesting, sir. Data scientist and data artist.
Yeah.
That's quite an interesting
So,
terminology.
because
Could
data
you share
scientist
with?
always uses his brain and basically
Correct.
creates the models. Data artist always uses his heart to tell the stories. Okay, it's a coordination between heart and mind. The nervous system
Right.
is analytics.
Right. So, sir, can we say that probably these data artists, whatever story they have to tell about different brands or maybe companies, that culminates into a brilliant decision making finally.
Definitely. Yeah. And you need to know the technology. If you don't know the technology, you can't become a decision maker, right? If a
Right.
technology is something, if you don't understand it, and if you don't face, see, any student today can start, or anyone can start with first concepts, then there is a context where the concepts can be utilized, then they can go to a case, then they can think about some coding. Okay, but unfortunately what is happening is people start with code, then they go to case studies, then they try to solve it, which is not the way to learn.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We have a question from our audience,
Yeah.
Miss Priyanka, and the question is: we being finance students, do we need to study Tableau?
Definitely, Priyanka, most of the BFS companies are using Tableau, but I also suggest you the tech stack is getting enormously changed because Tableau is no more a Tableau company. It's been bought over by a company called Salesforce. So the Einstein part of an thing is coming up. But my suggestion is learn data visualization first. So it's always I always use this thing like when the people come for an advice, I say like you want to become an ITI fitter or you want to become an engineer. Engineer knows the concept, fitter knows the tools. Okay, so don't be tool dependent. You be in concept and learn visualization.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So, coming to econometrics, would you like to suggest a couple of tools to our students? Probably basic ones they might be aware of, SPSS and AMOS. Any further, if you could throw
See,
light on it, sir?
there are tools like Gretel, there are tools like freewares, there are tools like R, there are tools like eViews, there are tools like Stata, and there is a tool called R. Okay, which is a very good tool for both econometrics and statistics, where you can get both coded version and non-coded version of the R.
Okay, there's a very interesting question that if data analytics can give us, a sense of what might be next into trends, then would it be possible to hack stock markets?
This is called very ambitious question, right? So what happens is everyone knows an entry into stock market. Data analytics will guide you when to enter into the stock market. But the exit strategy is something like where you have to use your trusted and gut feelings to come in. I don't encourage people to be a more gamblers than I encourage students to be more strategic and contributes towards the something to the value additions of their own. But definitely, it helps you in enter into stock market. But exit is very important.
Right, sir. Sir, amongst all these technological advancements that we are talking about today, is there any scope to accommodate unprecedented or something which is unknown. So recently we had a lot of turmoil in the neighboring country, which might have an impact on our financial and economical conditions as well. So can we have a provision for such kind of unknown and uncertain situations? Can technology accommodate those and give us a better decision making space?
See, there are researchers who are working on spillovers. What you just said is a spillover impact.
Right,
But what
sir.
happens is the technology will definitely help in finding uncertainties, risk handling. Okay, there are some models there are some models where I have used something called hidden Markov chain models. Okay, which basically helps us to look at what is the neighboring spillover effects and how that image is helping you in your company. Like I have used it in one of the microeconomic case of one of our uh, uh, mission intelligence when we are predicting it. If you have a progression of a mission, there was an event happened outside the mission, which is basically an electricity failure. How does that reflect on your mission potentiality? That mission potentiality, that effect, and how long it will persist. That basically impact of that on the productivity of the mission and then overall downfall of the mission. So the same analogy can be applied to society, and definitely we can analyze it. There are there are some beautiful studies on that. Right.
Thank you so much, sir, for those insights. We have a question from a PGDM student, Mr. Malik. And the question goes like, what should he focus more on, finance or data analytics, which would yield him a better career?
I say financial data analytics, combo of both.
Okay, amalgamation of both.
Yeah. See, data analytics is the way of life. Huh? Finance is basically the religion which you choose. Both are important to become a citizen, right? You can
Right,
choose
sir.
any religion, but the way of life is also very important.
Absolutely, sir. Well said. We have one more question coming from a full stack developer. So this person says, I am full stack developer. Can I learn data analytics?
I suggest you to become a more blockchain developer. Okay, there's a much demand for blockchain developments in a full stack space. Okay, instead of writing Web 2.0, try to write Web 3.0, and then data analytics will definitely use there.
Right, sir. So could you throw a little light on the involvement of blockchain as far as e-commerce is concerned? Because our country is looking forward to humongous growth, and in fact, we are moving towards that into e-commerce. So can you throw a little bit of light on that?
See, in terms of e-commerce, I use a word called digital commerce. Okay, the entire there is no more e-commerce. Like the whole idea of digital commerce is, for example, take an example of a cloth marketing. Okay, so it's basically the influencers are the one who are creating demand, right? If you post a beautiful shirt or beautiful place on an Insta, people look at it and face it. So what happens is this entire concept of e-commerce is changing towards a digital commerce. So that's an actually one of the interesting project. Me and my friend started it as a startup. What we do is we try to collect an information from all our Insta influencers, looking at the people who are liking it and who are basically posting it, retweeting it, or expressing it, who are watching it, kind of a thing. From there, we use that Insta demographics, where we try to capture their demographics, their tastes and their preferences, and then this entire content will be traded back towards the manufacturer. So the manufacturer demand comes from the real influencers. So this entire gamut of thing, if you build it in a digital space, what will happen is there is a blockchain to that from source to system. The source to system is basically when you are capturing this and transforming it, the decentralized decision makings and putting a smart contract with an influencer to tomorrow he can go and claim that no, that was not that, this and all. So from there towards how much share he can get if I sell my one printed shirt. This entire gamut of things comes within digital commerce. So e-commerce, I say it's dead now. It's more a digital commerce. And then the way the blockchain will work in three ways. It helps you in a decentralized decision making. It helps you in transforming this data with a seamless capability and bringing in that transparency into the system. It also helps you once you create any NFT kind of a thing, the design that becomes an NFT, so that it can be protected by not copying or not copy printing things. So blockchain has a seriously different role in this entire digital commerce space.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We have a question from one of our participants. The use of AI tools like ChatGPT, whether we can call it as a curse or a boon. So always in the class, they are told not to use ChatGPT in order to complete their presentations. However, the content is available very easily on ChatGPT. So whether it is a curse or a boon.
You ask me, for a student, it is a curse. It kills your learning appetite. For people like me, when they become old, when I have to handle multiple projects, it becomes a boon. Okay. So what will happen is it's like simply like earlier, I used to remember 100 phone numbers of my friends and foes. When the moment, at least I used to have an analog phone. Now the digital phones has come, so my memory has faded out. The people ability to read, people ability to summarize, people ability to synthesize, to do a research is getting dead. Instead of ChatGPT, I suggest you to go to Perpetual AI, where at least will give you references. So the real copy paste can be avoided. At least you can see the references and read it. So as I said, if you want to do a quick presentations or something, definitely. But you being a student, you no need to do that much of quick presentations. You have to read, understand, synthesize, and then you have to recall it. So in my suggestion, I say, I think I'm sounding like speaking of this much of technology, I'm sounding like an old-fashioned school guy, but it really helps on your psychology. Today, you are submitting your assignment, but I submitted my thesis 20 years back. I can tell from what I started with, where I ended with, because I did my PhD when the system of Google was not giving copyrights. Okay. And we have to go to libraries where we have to read the journals and we have to summarize it and do that. That kind of a transcriptive work will always help you to get into the more thing. But yeah, for a student, it is definitely a curse. For an seniors, it will be boon. But at the same time, this is what ethical AI means, right? If you think about a moral hazard and ethics, ChatGPT is a bane. It's not a boon to the system.
Thank you, sir. Very well said. I think all the students will understand now not to use ChatGPT, and it's better to read and develop themselves at this particular phase. So there's a question from one of our participants, Mr. Piyush. So he wants to know the roadmap for a blockchain developer. What should be the
This
ideal roadmap?
this prompt he can give in ChatGPT. It will give him a good tech stack.
Okay, okay, sir. So I hope Mr. Piyush you've got the answer to your question. So,
Okay.
sir, it was a very, very engaging session. So, any closing remarks for our audience?
I'll say only one thing, guys. I think India definitely required, not only India, global required a workforce who are committed, and you are Gen Z forces. Okay, there are problems with the Gen Z forces. I suggest you to become a more technologically acclaimed and technologically intensive. Okay, I can only say one thing: happy learning. Okay, keep learning. Okay, and be an ethical citizen.
Well, thank you so much, sir. I profoundly thank Dr. Venu Gopal Jarugumalli, sir, Practice at ZF, for joining us for today's session. The session was very, very engaging, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
extend a heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Sudhir Sharma, President AIMS, all the board members, AIMS Secretariat, for this extremely knowledgeable and enriching session. And last but not the least, all our participants for their wonderful participation and the questions as well. So, see you until the next wonderful session. Thank you so much all for joining, and we sign off from today's session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am. Maybe sir left, I think so.